we're gonna start by including an emergency agenda item because of the current issue happening in the area.
Yeah.
And we will have someone present about this, just to bring it up.
Yeah. Right now, we have a situation on Washington Avenue between Lefferts Avenue and Empire Boulevard. There's a middle school there, there's a car wash, there's a yoga studio, and it's a right across the street is a residential area. Right now, it says it's a no standing from 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. However, we got U-Haul trucks that are now there all day, all night, because there's a little sign on the side that says that this is a pickup and drop-off location for U-Haul. There is no loading zone on this block. It is a no standing zone. And what has happened as a result is that now cars are parking on the sidewalk. They're parking either perpendicular or they're parking parallel on the sidewalk. And I have made over 20 311 complaints over the last month. Okay, 20. Not one ticket has been given. As far as the U-Hauls are concerned, the precinct is making the claim that that's illegal parking because they have that sign up there. It's telling them that it's a loading and unloading zone. I just spoke to the DOT here, and they're claiming that unless it's classified as a zoning, a loading zone, that they cannot park there. So there's an issue with that. But my concern is for the school children, because I've watched school children in this middle school have to walk outside into the street to get around these parked cars. Also, because of the car wash, you have the car wash coming down that street that used to take up the no standing because there was no car supposed to be in the no standing, then now out into the street. Double park is you have a double parking moving line. So it's really creating a very dangerous situation, and the 71st precinct has failed to do anything. I have documented, you guys always talking about, you got to document, you got to, let us know about the 311s. Well, I have already sent you guys the 311s, the dates, the times that I have filed these complaints. I do have some complaint numbers, but clearly the precinct, the 71st precinct is not doing their job. They are not ticketing. They are not stopping this unlawful behavior, and is now causing an emergency situation, I believe, because of that middle school. So I'm asking you guys, what have you done? Because I've been complaining via email, but now this is a public meeting. What have you guys done? And what is going to be the action that you're going to take moving forward? Because I would hope that at least one thing that will come out of this is that a motion be put on the floor for you to send a letter to the 71st precinct advising them of this dangerous situation and asking them why they have not been ticketing these cars and these U-Haul trucks because they are sitting in a no standing zone. It is not a loading zone. So that's and I'm asking, what is your plan?
Okay.
So are you going to answer my question? Anybody going to answer my question?
I mean, I can.
Okay,
It's definitely unsafe. I've seen it before. I found the situation. And we have spoken to DOT in the past, recently, and they confirmed, it's not a loading zone. It's a no standing zone still. And it's not a good place to have parking there because of the car wash nearby. So we think it's a law enforcement issue. And we're currently also speaking to law enforcement to sort that out. We've reached out very recently, so.
You spoke to law enforcement. Who did you speak to law enforcement? Who did you speak to?
Well, right now we've been informed that there is no commanding officer at the 71st precinct.
Okay, so that means that the officers just don't work. They're not responsible. Okay,
Well,
go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah, so I don't appoint those people, so I don't have any control over that. But the situation is a mess. We're trying to make sure that we can get the enforcement going. And we're also informing them about the need to get a commanding officer in place there. But right now we're talking to them on smaller scale to get that solved. We haven't sent letters yet, but
Well, I'm asking you to put a motion, can somebody in the committee put a motion on the floor, if you don't mind? To put a motion on the floor to officially ask the 71st precinct to inform them, because even if they don't have a commanding officer, they still have officers on top of them, they have lieutenants, they have captains,
Should be somebody
you know,
active.
and they still have to do their job. I can't accept the fact that you don't have a commanding officer, so that you're no longer doing your job.
I put a motion on the floor that we will look into the 71st precinct to address this issue on Washington Avenue between Lefferts and Empire.
But he said he did that already,
Okay.
I'm asking
Yeah,
for a
but-
letter, an official letter,
Okay, so we're gonna do, I put a motion on the floor to do an official letter.
thank you.
I'll second it.
okay.
Just one correction, it's not no standing, it's no parking.
Oh, sorry.
From 8 AM to 6 PM all days, that's Sunday to Sunday,
Right,
alright? So
Thank
that
you.
means that I'm supposed to stand there, right, let alone park on the sidewalk or anything. You have to just drive and keep going.
So it's no parking what time?
There's no parking all
day
days
long.
from 8 AM to 6 PM. So that means you're not supposed to stop there, period.
I thought no parking means that you can unload and load.
You can
That is true.
Because no standing means you can't.
You're
do
correct,
anything.
you're correct,
Right.
you're correct.
but these trucks are not loading and unloading,
They're
these
all-
trucks are parked there, so they're parking there.
Understood.
And the cars are parking on the sidewalk, is there any permission for parking? Do we allow DOT, you're here, do we allow parking on the sidewalk in any situation?
The law says that that's not the case, and then it should be enforced.
Okay, well, there you have DOT saying that there should be no parking on the sidewalk. I completely agree with that. So, you're gonna do the motion? The motion is to
Write a letter.
write
Write a
a
letter.
official letter to the 71st precinct, notify them of the situation, and demanding that they address this issue immediately. And I hope that it also includes the U-Haul trucks that are sitting there, as well as the park cars.
The park cars on the sidewalk.
So we got three situations. We got the U-Haul trucks that are sitting there. We got regular cars that are parked in the no standing that also park in the no standing. And we have the parking on the sidewalk.
No parking.
And parking on the hydrant. We got four
Yes,
situations.
Yes, I saw
So
that.
I think you should point each one of these out and also include all my 311s. Can I send you all my 311s?
So I have a question.
Mhm.
So the U-Haul, is it like a business over there?
No, there's no U-Haul business there.
No, there is, it's on
There
the
is.
other side,
Oh, there is?
yeah,
In the
on the
building.
Flatbush
The
Avenue
building
side of
with
the
the-
building.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
There's a rental.
Yes, 495 Flatbush Avenue, that's
Oh,
the
I haven't
U-Haul.
seen it.
Yeah, so basically,
Is that it?
it's fleet parking, you're not supposed to park your fleet on the sidewalk, on the street, that's all. You're not supposed to park there. They're supposed to house their fleet, and that's it.
Right. So I'm a little confused. So they have you have on one side Flatbush Avenue where they have the official business, and then on Washington Avenue you have them fleet. And no one's given them permission to park there?
It seems like there hasn't been. So, back to the motion on the floor. It's been moved and seconded by police.
I just have
And then
I have a question just to clarify. Is it that, I mean, I'm looking at Google Street View, I see the problem, it's very clear there. But the sign says no parking, right? But you were saying, like, in a no parking, you're allowed to load and
You
unload.
can load and unload.
And they're probably abusing that
No,
privilege.
they're just
like-
parking,
No,
they're
they're just
empty
parking.
and they're
Right.
Oh, so
parking.
they're,
They just
got it.
park.
Right, there's no
Yeah,
loading.
it's-
unloading.
they're parking their fleet,
They have
they're
the
storing
fleet-
your
They
vehicle.
have
Right.
the fleet parking there.
Right.
From
There's a drop.
their store and
There's a pickup and drop off where you drop the U-Haul there.
So,
and then
so the
it's-
signage is fine as long as they just do the drop off and then leave. It's that they're parking.
Yeah,
Like
and
long-term
overnight,
parking.
and overnight.
It's an overnight. So it's not like we wanna request the signage changed to no standing, so
Enforcement.
we just want enforcement of what is
No, no,
currently signed.
right,
There is also a no standing sign 100 feet south and for the rest of the block south.
right. So the whole
Got it.
block
So
is
it's
a
both.
no standing. And don't forget, there's also a bus stop there.
Right.
So you got a bus stop, you got a middle school, you
Yeah.
got a car wash, you got a yoga studio.
Yeah.
You got a lot of stuff going on there, and yet you got no enforcement.
Yeah.
Absolutely none.
Don't forget the liquor store that
Yeah, and the liquor
loads and
store.
unloads in that
Yes,
particular
yes,
area.
yes,
Yeah.
the liquor store as well.
Okay.
So we can take a vote?
agreement.
Motion's on the floor still, getting a letter sent to the 71st precinct about enforcement on that block. Will include what's going on there currently.
The 4 issues, right?
Yeah, we'll include the 4 issues of what's going on there currently. And I think, well, let me tell what I think on this yet. But do we have any opposed to this on the committee? No. You guys for common consent?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, thank you, I appreciate it. See, under 10 minutes, didn't I say that was gonna happen under
Good
10
job.
minutes? Didn't I say that in my email? Okay, thank you so much, I so appreciate it. I'm sorry I cannot stay for the toilets. I have another meeting I have to go to, then, thank you, Transportation Committee, I really appreciate you addressing this issue, because it is a very serious issue.
You're welcome.
Thanks, guys, good to see you.
Good night.
Good night.
To the table, Flora, Lulu, all yours.
Thank you everyone for having us. My name is Diana Soriano from Brooklyn Borough Commissioner's Office, and these are my colleagues.
Hi, my name is Teresa Freeman. I'm Director of Concessions and Transit here. I must say that I should have an ASL interpreter if I'm having a transcription here, so don't be offended if I'm
It's
having
okay.
something that
You're fine.
go ahead,
You're fine.
pass it on to my colleague, he's gonna present it.
Hi everyone, I'm Will with DOT Concessions and Franchises. I'm the project coordinator right now, and we'll be speaking about a proposed automatic public toilet location at 513 Flatbush. It's the sidewalk by the BP gas station over there.
Oh, okay. Not far from what we just discussed. Okay.
Next block.
Okay.
Up Washington,
Use it to
basically.
block the cars.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Diana,
So this is just an overview of the franchise that allows these APTs to go in the ground. JC Deco also handles the bus shelters and newsstands that you see around the city. If you could just go back real
Oh,
quick.
yeah. Oops.
20 of these automatic public toilets, APTs, are completely free to the city. JC Deco just collects ad revenue, and that's how these are made free. Same thing goes with the bus shelters. Anything over 20, that would come out of the budget, but that's not relevant for the purpose of this specific APT. These will get serviced twice a day by the franchisee JC Deco. Once when they open the unit around 8 a.m. and then once at night at 8 p.m. So they are closed overnight in case anyone has concerns about that. They're self-cleaning. You get up to 15 minutes to use it, after which the door opens on its own. This new model that we have right now, it also has a bottle filler. It has upgraded technology in it to be more responsive, and it's a much more user-friendly model than the ones that are currently there. Yep,
You said they're self-cleaning, so that cleans the seat as well?
absolutely.
Okay, how does that work?
I could show you a video.
Okay.
Would you like to see now?
Yeah, I was just wondering, because you're going
Well,
through
maybe we
that.
should go through the presentation first.
Okay,
Yeah,
that's fine.
but I
So-
can show you a
okay,
video.
Okay,
Yeah.
we're gonna see the video.
It's also free, so the new ones are free, so anyone can go to this.
Yep, some of the models that are in the ground right now do still cost 25 cents, but over the next 6 months to a year, all of them will be completely free. This proposed one will be free. And these are just the levels of approval. This is why we're here in front of you today, asking for your support. It involves the community board, council member, the PDC, the mayor, and speaker of the council.
And for those who
So-
don't know what PDC is, it's a public design commission, so they help out with a lot of projects within the city.
Anything that's permanently on the sidewalk.
So what's involved in the engineering review?
The engineering review, JC Deco, the franchisee, they hire a firm. It has been McLaren for a little while now. They look at the underground utilities. They see if it's feasible to, let's say, connect the water or sewer, within like 50 to 75 feet of our proposed location. They check if Con Ed can connect electricity there. They do things like that.
Is that major digging out of the,
It involves some trenching, but it's not,
It's
it's
not
not,
extensive work where
Okay.
it's like,
Yeah.
you know, like milling
because
and
that's a
paving,
gas
but-
station, so you have cars moving in and out of there.
right, this is on the sidewalk and
Understood.
outside of that, the location where people will be, or people currently park sometimes, so that's another potential benefit of this is
On the
it
sidewalk on Lefferts,
on-
show you the.
on the Flatbush
on
side.
the Flatbush side.
Yep.
Wow, I can't, okay, I'll have
I
to,
also want to point out that the council member is very enthusiastic about this site. So we've shared that with her, and Council Joseph is very much on board with the DPT.
This is the dimensions of it, so about 10.5 feet wide, 10 feet 2 inches wide, 6 feet 2 inches deep, and about 9 feet tall.
Is that the typical dimension of like a bus stop?
I think these
So
are
just for
a
scale.
little bit bigger,
A little bit
maybe. But also the bus stops do come in various sizes, the bus shelters.
Yeah.
These are some of the clearance requirements, to further answer your question, so, 8 feet in the front of clear path. There is a city bike station, for example, close to our proposed location, but there's more than 8 feet. I believe I won't say how much, but there's more than 8 feet, so plenty of clear path, will be easy to walk through. 5 feet on all the sides and then 3 feet in the back, and just wanna point out that this will require removing one parking spot on Flatbush.
And no interference with the underground gas tanks.
No,
No, the engineering review would check for that as well, so if that were a problem, it wouldn't be.
yeah, the engineering review came back very positive, and we also just like the location, so.
Do you know how many public toilets there are in the city currently?
Publicly operated toilets, there's about 1,100 of our APTs. There are 7,
7 of yours.
yes.
Okay. And what is the current like success rate, failure rate, as far as keeping them operational and clean and all that?
It's very high. Do you know what it is?
I don't know the exact figures, but also the JC Decoro, they maintain it twice a day. So there's a lot of oversight and maintenance and management over there. If you look at bus shelters and newsstands, and they're very well maintained, so it's operated by the same company.
So are you able to tell the number of people that actually use them per day?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that is, so of the 7 that you have on average, how many uses do you have per day?
I don't know, it widely varies depending on location, but sometimes it could be from 200 to 1,000 per month.
And where are they located, the 7?
There's one at Plaza de las Americas in Washington Heights. There's one at Grand Army Plaza, which a number of you, I believe, have walked past at least. There's one at Madison Square Park, one at Corona Plaza, one at Valentino Pier, and one at the Williamsburg Bus Depot.
So the one at Grand Army Plaza, how many uses do you get out of that one?
I do not know off the top of my head.
Okay, cause I was just
And
wondering,
also
since
that one
is,
was
yeah.
closed down for a little bit because
Oh.
of a issue with the water main below.
okay.
So with that one, it might be a little skewed.
Oh, so it's
So-
back in operation now?
It is back in operation,
cool.
yeah. And I just wanna say, if you wanna see the new model, at Valentino Pier, it just opened last week. So if you're in the area at all, you could check it out.
This approval is just for the ones that are going to be free to the city. If you decide to expand the program and want to, build more that are going to be close to the city, will there be an additional approval process or?
No.
Okay, so once,
Or I guess OMB would have to clear that, but we're not there right now, yeah.
And my concern is the safety, and as I mentioned to you outside, I don't know what method you use as far as codes to get into the bathroom. I don't know how wide it is. I don't know, in your way of coming out, if someone can push you in, okay? There's a lot of safety issues.
Right, they are, in terms of access, they are fully ADA compliant. You hit a button to enter, the door closes after you. You can also, there's a call for help button inside the unit, and you hit a button to exit it.
Okay.
I believe there's actually, with this new model, maybe even a help button by the toilet itself. Again, very useful for someone who might have a disability, and then
Right.
there's one right by the door to enter and exit.
So the one someone is in is locked.
Yeah, and for 15 minutes, after which it will open no matter what.
Okay.
So you don't have to worry about people barricading in there.
Don't go if you have diarrhea.
How about lighting around the area, just keep it well lit, so.
Do they have lighting outside?
No,
The one in Ground and
those
Pleasant.
alarm with the backlight, the L panels.
Okay,
Everything's
so
located under a street lamp.
gotcha. So I guess exterior no lights, but they do get closed at 8 p.m.
There is a light right above it too.
Yeah.
Just, you know.
Yeah.
Like there's a
And
street
I mean,
pole right
the way part of the siting requirements is, they do have to be in pedestrian friendly areas, they have to be in areas that kind of make sense for these units to go, it's not gonna be in isolation ever. And this 513 Flatbush location is kind of centrally located.
You mentioned that it's family accessible. What makes it family accessible besides space or?
Family friendly, I said, and I mean that specifically just because the current units, they have a kind of metallic interior. With the older technology, they're a little less responsive, so like after the cleaning cycle, it might still be a little wet on the floor. With these ones, it's there's panels that with like colored interior. The flooring after you use it will be almost completely dry, things like that. There's coat hooks, so if you need to change, whatever.
They don't have a.
Changing
There's unfortunately no changing table.
Oh.
We just got to the presentation.
We're getting there slowly, y'all. Approve us first, please.
No, but if this is the new design, how does it not have a changing table?
And it's family friendly.
Like, everyone here was a baby in a diaper at some point, like, it should be a pretty normal thing to have a changing table, I'd say. I'm surprised.
It's only for emergency purposes.
Babies have
Get in,
emergencies.
get out.
Another question.
Yes.
This is an automatic cleaning cycle, right?
Yeah.
So how is that gonna work? You're gonna wait until it's obviously vacant, and then what, the door self closes and locks, so nobody goes in the middle? And then it's shut until the cleaning cycle's off, and then,
Yeah.
Yep.
There's a 90-second cleaning cycle, so if
Oh.
we're waiting in line, the 90 second might feel a long time, but at least when you go in, it'll be clean.
So you mentioned something about the floor might be wet.
With these older ones, there has been some wet residue, after the cleaning cycle. We think it's because of the flooring that is in the older models. These new ones, that hasn't been an issue at all.
Okay, so
And-
what
and-
about slip
and
and
those
fall,
old
is that a
ones-
liability?
It's wet,
Yeah.
it's not smooth,
Okay.
the grip. But let's go through the presentation.
Should I continue?
We can continue, I think we've covered.
This is a location that was referred to in case anyone needed the visual. I'm very familiar with the site. many site visits.
So in blue, it is a little small in here, but in blue is the exact location that we're proposing.
Do you mind pointing the blue box?
Oh, yeah, I was gonna send it up.
Right here.
Thank you.
Can you go back to the
Previous site?
yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm looking at the same image here,
Yeah.
but there's a car parked on the sidewalk, and I'm like, oh, it's exactly where
It's
this car
gonna be-
parked on
yeah,
the sidewalk.
yeah.
So it'll stop that
So
happening.
That's a small added benefit that
Yeah.
we realized when we were doing our site visits to determine this location. There were a lot of cars out there. I spoke to a couple of people and they were also very welcome to this idea because of the cars.
and this is just a rendering on the street.
Yep.
Yeah. Alright.
not too bad looking, right? See, in the entrance, I know many people are worried about this, have safety concerns. It's right on the street. It's not on the corner off where people can't see you. It's where people are passing by continuously.
And you'll have bollards there in order to protect from any impact from vehicles?
There won't be bollards, but there is a small utility shed kind of.
Reason why I asked that is because you have vehicle traffic on this,
On the
getting
side,
gas.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Right? And if a pump is being occupied, they'll make a wide turn, go around.
This is at the southern tip of this plaza, so the cars really shouldn't be there, even
Yeah.
from the gas
If
station.
they're doing that turn, it's
Cars
definitely an
shouldn't end
illegal
up
move.
Cars shouldn't end up there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just
There's
that
no
this should be,
pump over there.
but since you do have the bus stop, right, there's a bus stop that's there, correct?
No, there isn't.
Where's the bus stop?
Oh, wait.
The bus stop is
different
on
one.
one across the
It's one
street.
across the
It's
street,
across the
isn't it here?
Yeah, the
Oh,
bus
it's there.
here.
Oh, okay,
It's here.
The bus
okay,
stop's there.
okay. All right. This should be some sort of, I feel there should be some vehicle protection, in case anybody careens on the sidewalk and whatnot, and somebody's in there.
I mean, if this is called feels like they need to be extra protected, then they can.
Like the one at Grand Army Plaza, that's fine, cause that's way off the,
Right.
off the street.
Right.
That's right by the curb.
Yeah.
And,
It's 18 inches off the curb.
yeah,
And
18
it's
inches
pretty
off the
big
curb.
Yeah.
It's just something to think
You can
about.
hit that, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
something to think about.
Thank you, thank you.
And then the last slide is just a site map, and,
Yep, and this also kind of just includes some of these existing conditions that we are speaking about. So like there is a tree not too far away, there's that, I believe it's like a vacuum as part of the gas station that's a little bit out of the way. The city bike dock is also, again, in that area, but really everything, with the, BP gas station is kind of toward the northern end of that, plaza.
Does the BP gas station have any concern, or have they been spoken to about this, or? And it's not on their property? And they're not,
Yeah.
It's
they're
not on their
not.
property.
It's our right of way.
Right.
And also we see this as being kind of a benefit, cause like, someone's getting gas, especially a lot of drivers might be passing the area. I mean TLC drivers or delivery drivers, and they can, get their gas and also use the bathroom.
as well as city bike, riders as well. It's just
Yeah,
also access
absolutely.
point for them as well. And I know that the bus stop across the street also, it's a matter of people coming in and out of work or school. It's also a
Park is right
part,
there.
yeah, exactly. So this is definitely a really main location, and I know this team has definitely worked diligently to like make sure we put it in a spot where, it's possible for a lot of people in this neighborhood. And then questions? What are those?
So I have a question. Good.
There you go.
Alright, so you said that these units are gonna be free?
Yeah.
Free, okay, because you're generating revenue from the ads.
Yep.
Okay, so how much revenue are you generating from those ads in order to make sure that you can cover all of the maintenance, utility costs, because your highest energy demand is gonna be in the winter, in order to keep ventilation going, make sure your pipes don't freeze, keep constant heat, right? So how much are you generating from that?
I don't have revenue figures, but over the lifetime of this franchise, it's going to bring in over $1.2 billion.
Over the lifetime?
Yes. So that is a significant amount. We've also never had any issues with JC Deco being able to fulfill their duties. They're out there twice a day, every day at all of our APT locations. They get to bus shelters also pretty quickly.
Well, my thing is just the overall expense, because these units, I used to maintain some of these, right? So it used to cost me about $200,000 a year to maintain one unit.
Yeah, which is why this is awesome, because the city doesn't have to spend this money.
Right, that's why I want to know how much you were generating from the ad revenue. Because if you fall short, are you generating enough?
Yes,
Okay.
yeah,
A
absolutely.
lot of the minimum prices for a lot of those JC to go ads are like $5,000 for a single spot for part of a single day.
Yeah, but what it is, what
No,
I'm
I mean, I've
looking
never
at
had it, so I know.
is the overall operational cost. Okay, because you have snow removal, you have to take care of, alright? And the utilities is gonna be the biggest one. And, cleaning, Oh, you said you had that covered, you're gonna close, so it's not gonna be a 24-hour unit, so you're
Yeah.
close, so that'll be some savings. But your utility cost is going to be, a big note on that.
No, but that's the beauty of specifically this typology of public restroom. These automatic public toilets, JC Deco brings in a lot of money. They're also a international corporation. And they do not have any issues with fulfilling any of their duties
Okay.
as far as the maintenance and repair and anything else goes.
And this is a service contract, and they're obligated to fulfill this service contract.
Yep.
Correct.
So there's
You
no
mentioned
issue.
that the cost will be, I guess, deferred over the lifetime of this. So what is the life expectancy of the unit?
That's a good question. I don't know. But for example, the one at Madison Square Park, the unit that we have, it's been in there since 2008 or 2009. And it's been operating this whole time. We are replacing it just because of this new model, but it could keep going.
And to that point, I mean, a lot of these contractors, it would not benefit them if their machines were to shut down for
Frequently.
any reason.
Well, the
They're-
only reason I'm saying that is because, you know, in your house, the refrigerator used to last forever. Now it only lasts for X amount of years, cause there's a life expectancy,
Agreed,
so that's why I
agreed.
was just
Uh,
asking.
yeah, no, and
That's what I'm
it's a good question, but it's, you know, when these companies have their own utilities, they're just like, we wanna make sure it lasts, so just driving.
They know how to make them last forever when they want to.
Yeah,
Right,
exactly.
when they're
That's
working, so
what-
that's
they know-
why I was
they know
just
how to do
wondering,
that.
with
Yeah.
this particular model,
Yeah.
because you're not going, maintaining the other model, you say you're replacing the older model that you
Yeah.
already had, so. Anyway, but is this showing us how the toilet's actually gonna flush?
I
You're so
believe
excited.
so.
Flushing is
Yeah, I
easy
wanna
as
see,
work.
I wanna see how it actually
How it
works.
operates, yes.
You know, how sanitary
So she
this
pushed
is.
the button.
We got you.
Okay, we're inside.
There's a lot of these toilets in Paris, so not from us. Does that sound?
Oh, that's deodorizer I saw?
Yes, so there's a lot of different detergents and things like that that are hidden from view, but that's how this self-cleaning system works.
That'd be so stressful.
It does, yeah.
Okay.
The bottle
And they have
filler
the
we're very
refill
excited about on the
stations,
new
yeah.
models.
Yeah.
So these are all in French, it's gonna be in English, yes?
Yeah,
So this is the toilet now
our
being
other
cleaned.
slides show a little better. I can also show some photos
wow.
basically.
No, I'm just talking about all of the signs are in French,
Right,
but they
right.
will be in
It's
English.
They will be in English, yes, yeah.
Think of how they're cleaning the toilet.
Will it just be English or is it multi-language?
It's just English. We did work on trying to make the design of the panel universal,
Yeah.
but it is in English.
Made with icons?
Yeah.
We have a question. Can we get the presentation?
Yes.
So we can post on the website
Yeah.
I
after the
can,
meeting?
Yeah.
I have no problem sending it over to them.
Maybe the video too, if you can do that.
It is so cool.
That's fine, yeah.
That's fine.
Alright, thanks.
In addition to the timer, do you have some kind of an audible warning that your time is almost up? I can see people on their phones totally ignoring the clock.
Yeah, I don't know
That's a
how
good
often
question.
in notes, but
Sorry?
I don't know how often it alerts you to many times that. Like if it's every 5 minutes or every 10 minutes.
There is an audible
But there is,
alarm.
yeah.
I get that.
Talk about stress.
I don't want to
In and out.
So when we know if the letter of support, do we just like contact you guys? Is it, you guys have to think about it?
It'll probably be quick,
Okay.
I think. You could, I think late March, you can talk. You can talk about late March.
Late March? Okay,
Yeah,
Alright.
given that we
Notes.
voted in general on it.
okay, thank you so much for your time, everyone.
I
Wait,
just
do we not
say,
need a motion?
seriously, consider about the bollards there. All right, because I'm just saying, because as a first responder who's been out to many hit utility poles, that people think they're never going to hit them,
Yeah.
and I replaced a lot of them.
Everyone's
and
a
for
great
this-
driver,
for
but
this
there's always
space-
bad drivers out there.
More than you know.
I know.
Yeah.
I know.
Or maybe somebody could have a medical emergency and something could happen.
Yeah, true.
You know,
Like having a baby.
I've had hit polls and I responded to bus drivers, dump trucks, cab drivers, kids, motorcycles. Over hundreds of polls I've changed.
Yeah,
So-
thank you.
We will take the feedback and if there are any other thoughts, please send it over to Ethan or to just Dante and then I'll make sure to read them and share it with the team and anything else comes up, we'll definitely have a response to it. But thank you so much for everyone's time.
Do
Really
we need a
appreciate it.
motion of support from this committee first?
Yeah, but we don't have to do it right now. We could.
Okay, you do it.
We'll do it.
Sure.
Awesome, alright, thank you.
We really appreciate your time, everyone. Thank you.
Questions?
So like, would it be
Yeah.
beneficial for us to go now on it?
No, yeah, we can do it now. I just not like,
Oh, okay.
not right away. But we can
Oh,
do it
gotcha.
like this. We can-
Thank you very much.
Thank you, thank you.
Thanks, everyone.
You gotta go.
Yes, there was. Yeah, it was at the beginning. It was at the beginning.
I wonder if there's a self-cleaning for the sink as well. That's a part of it. It gets dirty. Huh?
If it's like the one in Japan, yeah, it's the
Alright, I'll talk to them and see what we
That
can
as
do.
well, yeah, the six as well.
I saw the Twitter
If
thing.
it's like the same one, like that.
I'll talk to them
But
and
these,
and let you
it
know.
cleans the floor.
Thank you, thank you,
Yeah.
thank you.
Thank you so much.
Okay. Any motions on that?
Sure.
I'll motion to, write a letter of support for the toilet.
Well, should we get a resolution of support?
Oh, resolution,
That's what I
okay.
agree. Yeah?
Then I motion for that.
Any modifications to the, like, as is, straight up?
Yeah, I mean, other than like maybe adding, it's nothing that can be done right, like, within the time frame. So yeah.
Can I ask a question? About advertising in those, could it be a way where they have to like, advertise local businesses in?
I don't know. I don't think so.
Oh,
I mean,
I was wondering, like the link NYC things you
yeah,
have,
something
but
that.
those aren't, well, I wonder, cause I know this is, cause it has to pay for itself, I don't know, I guess Link has to do this.
And a lot
That
of
would be
local
nice,
businesses
but I don't know if
for
they-
anyone can apply. Are you asking if they are?
I'm not
gonna-
willing to pay $5,000 for it.
Yeah.
5,000 is for Link NYC. Those are the cheap ones.
Oh, okay. Those are the.
You thought that was
Right.
no? JC Deco is bigger than that. They're probably like 15-20 grand for like starting
ad,
starting
Right.
for like per 6-hour block.
But could there be a way where they can like advertise local stuff for free as a part of agreeing to
Those
have it
mechanisms
appear?
exist. Like
Yes.
CB9 has access to Link NYC for free. They can advertise community board stuff for free on that.
Okay.
I don't know what the mechanics are for anybody else, so not that I know.
Okay.
But I mean,
I'm just curious.
yeah, and it would be helpful to know before if you were to like, you know, resolve on something like that and say we'd want like additional resources given to like the local businesses. That would be nice, but it wouldn't be good to start there if we don't even know how it works in the first place.
Yeah.
And I want to get a better idea of how that will work. But yeah,
Fair enough.
it's a good. I mean, it's a direction I want to go in though. That'll be nice. But yeah,
Sorry about that.
anyone seconding that? Any seconds?
Oh, and
Andrew?
Okay,
Okay.
what are we seconding?
A support resolution for the public toilet.
The what?
So it's to move to have a supported resolution for the public toilet presentation that was just made.
Okay, so that we can have toilets,
Well, it's one installation.
I see.
It's only one. We already have, well, we don't have one, but there is one.
We do have one.
That's not in District 9. That's not District 9.
Oh.
Our district doesn't have any. This is the first one that we'd have gotten. Ganali Plaza is not in our district. I believe that's District 8, if I'm not
I
mistaken.
think it's six.
6? 6 is Parksville, that's the west side of it.
It's eight, it's eight.
And the Ganali Plaza is in 6 and 8.
Yeah.
It's
But
eight, so
it's
so
on
where do
this.
they wanna have it? Where do
They're looking to add one more here,
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 not here, but yeah, in this district.
There was a
Um,
presentation we just had,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
understand, but I
they
didn't get the
wanted-
street and where they would like to have it.
It was.
right by the Big P gas station. on London
It's
Street.
south
by
of
the
the
gas
yeah,
station.
south of the BP
Oh,
gas
right,
station.
right, okay, sorry.
Yeah, like Lincoln Road, going
Got you.
yeah, in Washington, Flatbush, that London. Yeah. Yeah, we have a resolution in support of it right now, and I'm about to ask if we have any opposition, and if we can do it by common consent. Anyone opposed to common consent? No, okay. Alright, so I think we approved that one by common consent, it's good. Do we have, I was gonna also ask if anyone wants to add in anything about the bollards, suggestion. Considering that it's a little closer to the street than we've seen in the area.
I think it's a good point. There's the granite blocker things on the other side of the,
They're on the other side of
Yeah.
this.
but like something to protect against vehicular strikes would be good.
Somebody's gonna be in this.
Yeah.
And it's really popular in the summer for Smorgasburg too. It's on the line of exit from the park.
Right.
I can see a lot of folks coming there using that.
Right, so modifying the original.
Friendly amendment to a friendly.
Oh, yeah, that's, yeah.
This, so,
Yeah.
Bollards.
to approve, but request that they
Consider this.
consider bollards.
And changing table for the
Oh, that would be
band.
good too.
And also in Japan, they have actually like a little seated thing in the stall where you could put your child while you use the toilet.
Yeah.
It would be good
Yeah.
if we could.
But it's
get
narrow
that.
though.
Oh, this would be wider, I think, so
Yeah.
it would have the space to accommodate it, but it would be nice to have.
Okay. Alright, so yeah, we can incorporate that.
So like a changing table and
Huh?
like those towels or something. I
Alright,
don't know what
just
it's called.
someone
You
ask.
know what I'm talking about?
Yes.
So one more quick ask, do we have any opposition to any of the amendments just proposed? The bollard consideration, as well as the changing table? Any opposition to any of those? No? Okay, so yeah. I think that was accepted by common consent. Cool, that's done. The next thing we need to do today, quickly before anyone leaves, okay, you Calista, is the dine out and applications. We got two of these. They're in front of us. And we need to vote on this today because we have a limited review period, so this should get done quickly.
We're done with the presentations, right?
Yeah, they're done with the presentation. You can come back.
Well,
Yeah, everybody could.
is there-
Neither
Is the applicant here?
of them are here. Yeah, I don't think any of them are here. I'm pretty sure they're not. But I wouldn't mind if they were.
Okay.
But yeah,
Oh, that's not right.
so we have, in this one, we have two restaurants. We have the Bob Bandit and we have Aggie's Counter, both coming in to request roadway, not roadway, but street dining infrastructure. Well, yeah, what if they're both sidewalk cafes? One second. I believe they should be here somewhere. We have the review process here in front of us, but I'm not entirely sure if we have the actual.
The big blue one.
It's here,
Oh, it's there?
yeah.
Is it?
For sidewalk cafes and roadway cafes.
Yeah, but do we, I believe they sent out over email,
This is for sidewalk cafe. It's the form that they filled out.
is the flyer?
The form is on the second page. It's the site plan. They have to. It's on the top right of the site plan. It's a sidewalk cafe sign form. So they've selected instead of a roadway cafe, a sidewalk cafe, which is what they had historically.
Are you seeing their form?
It's like a series of PDFs that they fill out, and they just get the.
I don't know why I'm not noticing it.
It's this guy.
Oh, there it is. Oh,
There's
I'm
two
not-
different-
I'm looking at it wrong.
That's for Bob and then this is for
Alright,
Aggie.
perfect, thank you. I did not notice those. Alright. Appreciate it. Because I know I saw it over email, I didn't hear
Oh, really, that one?
So we have a review process that we have to follow for these.
Sorry,
Where we do
sorry,
what?
for stretching over.
Where we do what for the review of these and approval of these?
Thank you.
Yeah,
What is it?
the review process is just about, I think, a maximum of a 1 month review period, so we got basically 1 meeting to go over these, approve them quickly, and, send it to the full board.
So if we have questions, clarifications for the applicant, will we be able to correspond with them before they come back for full board?
I'm not sure. I think they might come for full board. That as they currently do with SOA applications.
I'm sure we're gonna have no questions and no follow-up, but
You can-
hypothetically.
They're gonna be up against the full board answering questions, that sort of thing.
Okay.
I believe in the future we can have them come in more often. These are the first two, and I think they're at least expecting to come to full board for this.
Okay.
But the benefit I think of this one is that a lot of us have probably seen the Cloud Bandits set up from previously, because
I've been several times, it's great.
it's been there for a couple of years now, so.
It was
Some
even
of us
there
have-
before with Bob Bandit, when
Huh?
it was,
It was
the
the
old
gold
room.
room, they just
Yeah.
kept the same enclosure.
Right.
Yeah.
The gold
So
room.
it's-
Okay.
Question, why are we giving this? Doesn't this go to,
No, this is the process. Oh,
I mean, why is this going to DOT if this is on the sidewalk?
Well, DOT
GT owns from the property
DOT
line.
handles sidewalk too. Like, they're installing a toilet on the sidewalk. Yeah, that's also part of the.
They own it though.
You would think that this goes to the owner, the safety, this is a safety issue
Do you have a
with,
slip to install?
the cafe. I'm thinking, this is more inward towards the business.
Yeah, but the new process still governs that too. So even if it's
I
not
see.
very far out, it still is part of the sidewalk down, sidewalk down program. Especially if it's, the further out it is, yeah. I hear that.
So beyond the property line, it becomes jurisdiction of the DOT.
Yeah, they have pedestrian issues as well as driving and everything else.
Do we have like how much traffic there is during different times of the day? It gets pretty thin on the corner, you know? Like you have a lot of people
Well,
walking.
I live on this block. There's never been an issue with pedestrian traffic on this street corner, even when it was fully built out, as it's shown in the plan and as they're proposing to tonight.
This is very well sidewalk.
It's good.
Yeah, but I look over here, it gets pretty thin between the lamppost and the.
It's
It's fine,
confusion.
trust
No,
me.
it's
This is a lot of space.
This is it.
the dimension plan says 8 feet.
I know, but I'm saying, this doesn't look like a street. If you measure from,
Well, it's far away, it's telescopic, I don't know, like, I'm there
here also, I mean,
every day.
between here.
I'm not at the bar today.
Yeah. I'm saying, it's one square of clearance, one sidewalk square of clearance between the lamppost.
In the
It's just a picture.
it's in the diagonal, so
It's more than one
there,
square.
I have watched multiple people
Look
move
at the top
strollers.
left.
I have watched 2 people move strollers in opposite directions
Yeah.
around the
Yeah.
corner.
Just wanna make sure.
My youngest went to daycare across the street from us, there was plenty of room.
Alright, fine.
Biggest problem I have here is that this corner has vehicle crashes very often. There was one 2 days ago on this corner.
Yeah.
The daycare on the corner had to put up a fence because they've been hit so many times.
I've almost been hit there about 3 times.
Yeah,
know.
it is a great spot
That's
for a
Lefferts and
cafe.
Rogers.
Rogers and Lefferts is a dangerous intersection.
People make very quick right turns there, and they just swing around the block.
They don't,
Yeah.
I don't want.
So I wish this,
But they're not jumping the curb.
they fit on the
Not
curb.
Yeah,
They went into the daycare, like,
Not this side of the street yet,
It was-
but
it was across the street, but this whole corner
Oh,
is
this
a
is
mess.
Franklin.
I support
That
this,
is-
I
this
wish
is
it was made
Franklin?
of steel.
That's Aggie's County.
need one of them big blocks.
They've been pretty awarded.
Wait,
This
they
is
didn't
Franklin
include
Avenue.
as
That's
the.
Aggie's County.
Are we doing it one at a time or are we doing both?
So since you're talking about the bandit, you might as well continue with the bandit, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, you can do one at a time, but whatever's quicker, because, we have some time constraints.
Yeah. At the tone of the time, it is past our bedtime.
We do still have quorum though, if the person leaves, but, ideally, we could get this one out as soon as possible.
cafe type of thing.
Yeah,
Okay,
the sidewalk cafe.
You know, I really like that, but I'm not.
I'm trying to see.
Has,
They have something there now, okay, so Aggies is also an extension of what they currently have.
Yeah.
So in both cases, they're not drastically or at all changing the current conditions.
It's basically renewing what was already there.
right, I think this is just because the rules of the city have changed, but
Yeah.
it seems like
The city made this
something
a
that's been
yearly
there,
renewal
been
process.
working, is well used, you know. I think the owners, at least Bob Bandit, I go to often, I know they're very responsible and I see no issues, but.
Okay. And if you have any action items, any motions coming up, you're ready for them.
Well, I would make a motion to approve without modification for Bandit.
Okay.
If we were to take this one.
I second the motion.
Okay. There's a motion to approve outright the Bob Bandit swap application. Do we have any opposition to it?
My question is, did it expand further out to the street, or has this been here for a while? Cause I'm seeing dimensions here.
Yeah, that's been there for about 2 years from what I understand.
Probably
Bob
longer.
Bandit- Bob
No,
Bandit has been here
it's-
2 years.
That's what I mean.
The space.
Gold Room had the same shape. They had the same canopy.
They were the
Few
same
years.
space.
For several years before that.
Yeah, it's been probably
So-
3 or 4 years.
So I think they did it. They were like when
Pandemic.
they did it start 2019.
Oh, you're right, well, it's
Yeah.
before pandemic.
Judging by the photos, it looks like they've made no changes to what their plans are. They're just applying because now they have to apply for the same setup.
Yeah, all sidewalks.
Well, they're gonna redo, cause
They,
it's not
they
there
were
now.
they had
They
to take it down.
down.
The city made
So
them.
there's nothing,
Yeah.
but it looks like they're
Same
asking for the
plan.
same footprint as they've had before.
Yeah. That answer your question, Drew?
Is there a question that we would want to ask the applicant?
Right, so that was my question, if they extended it further towards the street.
Are they gonna have music outside as well?
No,
I don't think they have any speakers. The Gold Room used to have a lot of music and that was loud, but Bob Bandit's been quiet.
Motion, you know, do you have any opposition to common consent?
I've seen the reason to go against it.
Okay.
I just wanna say regarding like the review process, I think that the requirements of how much sidewalk space there is should be based on how much pedestrian density and traffic there is.
Karen's done it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I can understand that.
So you're saying that,
Then the,
In general.
then the FDNY should move their cars then.
Yeah.
Then the FDNY should move their cars then. If the clearance for the sidewalk is based on the number of people that are crossing.
Not
Yeah,
crossing,
like-
they're walking along
Yeah,
the
then
side.
the FDNY should move their cars off the sidewalk then. Like we're
Cars?
Yeah, but
It's a separate issue.
Let's not go on with that
I'm just saying,
tonight, there's
like,
something
we gotta
separate.
apply the logic evenly to all cases.
But we've been talking about that for a minute and they're not changing it throughout the city right now, so are we gonna wait until they move before we approve these folk having opportunity to make
Right.
revenue?
I think he was just making comparison, but yes, I think
Yeah.
that's separate from this, of course. I think we agree.
Okay, yeah. That passes by common consent. Now we have Aggie's counter.
This looks great,
Let's
Comcast, tight,
That was
like
just
Right.
blocking everything,
it's like a bistro.
giving space for pedestrians, strollers and carts.
This is on Franklin and where?
It's 2 blocks south of the Franklin Ave station. I was looking
Yeah, Eastern Parkway.
Okay,
at it. Union.
Union.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, the Peterson Parkway Union.
Oh, okay,
This is Franklin and what?
Franklin and
Franklin,
Franklin.
just north
Union.
of Franklin. Okay.
It's on the corner. Not really.
No, it's not on the
The
corner.
building is on the corner.
Well, the building
it's-
is, but there's
it's
a
like-
restaurant next
It's
to
a,
it.
yeah, it's a little bit more.
Yeah.
So I see
I
flower
wish the
pots.
bike
One
lane
block
continued
This
down
is
that way.
well, one
Because they're
block from
showing
the
some
front
kind
of
of
the station.
Yeah,
strengthening.
On this side of these
Because it
There's
goes
gonna be
around.
two restaurants down there, one in front of each other.
Yeah.
Right on
Looks like
Union,
it, yeah.
Yeah,
one of them.
Yeah, it's just tables and chairs, it looks pretty minimal.
It looks wider than the other street, but okay.
So far, I mean, I'm liking the.
I'm
I like the
on
11
the eastern
I'm
side
liking
of
the 11
Franklin
foot
Avenue,
Yes.
on the eastern side,
The western side,
the western,
toward,
I think it's
closer to the park.
so the closer to the park is western.
I think it's fine.
So far, I'm liking the 11 foot clear path.
Let's keep with the planters.
I like, well, they
And there's a
currently,
couple of
yeah,
little
so,
tables.
yeah, Felice, this is what they currently have, and this is what they were applying for. So they currently have the planters set up.
Yeah, that looks fine.
Yeah.
So like a couple of tables, right?
Yeah.
Bistro.
I mean, based on the plan,
It's
the
like being in
leaving
France,
11
except
foot.
that
Yeah, Sacre bleu,
I don't know
okay.
what it's taking, I should.
There's an 8 foot.
Are you saying,
Path
you're
as
gonna make a
well.
motion? You're gonna make a motion?
I'd like to make a motion to approve this resolution application.
I don't think this is 8 feet. You think between the tree and the edge of the city?
Well, I mean, photos can mislead, and the whole point of measurements is to not have to rely on a photo to see how far something is.
We can
I
ask
think
to
if it's-
we can ask to clarify if
Yeah,
they have a
if it's-
dimensioned plan.
If it's actually, I mean, if it's 8 feet,
It's no
They claim
change,
it's 8 feet.
no change to the current condition. I walk out of Franklin Avenue Station all the time. I've never thought like, oh, this is tiny.
yeah. The 11 foot path is solid. The tree being 3, making it 8 is also not bad, personally.
I motion that we vote in support of this,
You're
Application.
moving to approve?
Yep.
Any second?
Yep. Second.
Okay. No. Okay, can we common consent?
Common consent,
Okay.
yep.
Common consent.
Yep.
Okay, both approved. Agreed.
and next community board walking with to patronize one of these places at the end of them.
That'd be
That'd
nice.
be good, and we can fully experience what we help to approve. That'd be good.
Now, moving on quickly, just so everyone knows, we have 2 letters here from 2 of the schools that requested the school safety plan from DOT. As I, so just so everyone's aware, in the board vote last month, we voted to remove protected bike lanes from the plan entirely, and schools are now responding by saying that they asked for and supported the DOT school safety plan that folks, voted to augment last month. I could see more of these coming in the future. It would be good to read what they're saying and what they're asking for and what they're supporting.
Was there any highlights from the letters that they sent about why they thought this was justified or why they were upset by the change?
We invited them to this meeting, they didn't come with very short notice last week. We're gonna invite them again to April and see what their thoughts are. But so far, from what I've been hearing, they didn't expect this to have been such a difficult thing.
And there was also a letter of support for the protected bike lanes and more from Councilwoman Rita Joseph and Assemblymember Brian Cunningham specifically
Yeah.
for protected bike lanes and more other safety features around here.
Yeah. Rita has expressed strong support for DOT's plan, given that she's experienced her own students getting hit by vehicles and being killed. So she's, also trying to get that fully done and not necessarily a pared down version of it. There's still some weight because DOT and the council member's office are trying to, show some respect to the community board's recommendation. So that's also a part of it. And
So what about the community's response?
Hmm?
What about the community's response?
which
People
response?
of the area.
Which response?
Yeah.
Which are you
Well,
referring to?
have we actually gone to find out whether or not this is what they want, besides the school and everybody else?
I mean, we've held meetings for like probably half.
The residents of the area.
So we did several surveys, they were mixed.
Forget about the survey. I wanna
Well,
know,
it's
I wanna know, wait, I wanna know if We have physically gone there and find out exactly what the community wants.
Physically gone.
I just want, it's a simple
Are you-
question, it's not
We
complicated
should
at
go
all.
door to door and ask people if they want.
Well,
the-
I live in this community, I want to be able to be asked and not just given something, don't you think?
But
You-
that,
we have public meetings, we've had these public meetings for a year and a half regarding this issue and many others.
And my understanding is that most in the community actually rejected this, so I wanna know exactly why is it that we're moving forward with something that the community has rejected?
Well, I don't know, that was actually my question, is it seems like this is settled law and that our community board has said that we don't want this and that we want to pare down a version of this.
Okay.
So what do we do now?
To how much? What are we thinking about paring down? What
Okay,
is
Well,
it?
there was a motion that was amended at the last community board meeting that removed the
Yeah.
bike lane portion of this from the plan.
Protect the bike lanes. Regular bike lanes is, I don't think we have a problem with. The protected bike lanes, I think, cause more of a nuisance to the people that live wherever they're gonna install them than they help. To me, from what I understand, most of these accidents with bikes and cars are happening at intersections. Especially if you look at the map, most of them, or a lot of them happen on Eastern Parkway, which already has a protected bike lane. So these accidents are not happening in the, they're happening on the intersections. And protected bike lanes are not gonna help with intersections. Because you can't have a protected bike lane going across an intersection. So I don't see how they're gonna help, and they cause additional problems is that, now when you exit your car, now you have to watch out, you're crossing another lane of moving vehicles, albeit, bikes, but, you got a 200-pound person riding on a bike at 15 miles an hour, it hits you, you're gonna end up in a hospital. And especially with kids, and we have an existing example in Williamsburg, they installed one of these protected bike lanes, and there's already a couple of reports of children getting hit by the bikes as they exit cars. So I just don't see how, and also when you're riding a bike along traffic, so, what are the chances you're gonna get broadsided by a car? If you're driving in parallel, I don't see especially if there's, you have some painted lines or, cars can give more room to the bikes. I think that's adequate, and I just don't see how, it's gonna, how, the gain versus, the consequences, I just don't see how it adds up.
So I guess what we're talking about for me, is I'm listening to the language, protected bike lanes. So who are we protecting? The people who are on the bikes. So my question becomes, how many students or percentage of the student population are actually riding bikes to school? The next question is there a crossing guard there? Do we have a stoplight there? And also, can we have it where certain times of the day there's no maybe right or left turns to reduce the number of cars that might be turning in that particular area? So I'm just trying to throw out alternatives of when we say paring down. I'm not just saying, oh, throw out the old protected bike lane, but if we're throwing out, what are we doing to add actual safety for the students? Because are the accidents happening in the protected bike lanes, or are they happening on the corner? Because if they're happening on the corner, then the protected bike lanes is not serving you.
Another point is, it seems like the primary reason why they wanna install, or the schools wanna install these protected bike lanes in order to narrow the road in an attempt to, slow down traffic. There are other ways of slowing down traffic, you can put bumps on the road, it's not necessary to.
you can't
Or-
put the
or you
bumps
can have- or you can
for
have
all the
speed
ambulances there.
Right, or you can have speed cameras.
Speed cameras don't
they
bring
don't-
back somebody's dead kid.
They just give you a
Right,
ticket.
but it's a deterrent. It's a deterrent.
Is it deterring
but
people
it's not.
currently in other parts
I
of our
don't think
district?
it's a very strong deterrent. If someone can afford 100 speed camera tickets in a month and they want to drag race, they are going to drag
Right.
race.
When
If you
does this
spend
drag
80
race actually take place? During school hours?
And I know when they do.
It's not during school
You
hours,
can
for
answer,
sure,
but I know when they do.
They do it in there?
but it's not during school hours.
Nope. And I know when
And
they
I
do.
think that's the main issue. Are these drag racing happening during school hours?
There's a legislative move away from regulating traffic just during school hours. It's not something that the city wants to keep doing. They're moving to 24/7 enforcement with that.
I understand that, but I think the issue here is that the whole point of this whole thing is because they feel that there is an unsafe situation on those streets, And the main issue is cars are going fast. And I just wanna know, at what time of the day is this happening? School guards there, do we need a traffic light there? What is it that we need except all of these other bells and whistles we're talking about? Because if this is not happening during school hours, what's the issue really?
Well, there is a lot of data that they cited in their presentation that showed other issues, like about 40% of people doing above 40 miles per hour on Kingston during the daytime, or half of pedestrians getting hit while they have the walk signal. Those are all problems that.
So there is a light there, so there's a light.
There's a lighted signal on Rutland, but the cross streets that sort of T-bone into Wingate don't have any lights.
Right.
Or crosswalks. So
Or
there's-
crosswalks.
So then why don't we have a why don't we ask for a crosswalk and
The
let's
crosswalks are part of the plan.
Okay, but still, we're talking about like 100 different things here. We're talking about all of the issues that actually contributes to the major issue that everybody's looking at, which is children's safety. Okay, so we need to really separate these issues.
Well,
What exactly
the
do we
thing about-
need? What exactly do we need to make sure that during school hours, children are safe? That's
So-
what we need to be looking at.
One of those things is shorten crossing distances and islands so that people who are crossing the street can stop and
I
not
can
have
tell you
to.
that doesn't work. People get hit with this stuff all the time.
This
Right
is-
here on Flatbush and Ocean. People get hit all the time.
Well, we're
So
not
I
gonna
would
get,
encourage that.
we're not gonna get very far if we start to say that DOT's tools don't even work. And that's a whole separate issue that I'm currently trying to fix. I'm trying to get DOT to send us the data that they use so that people can start to trust their choice of tool or at least understand their idea behind it. Because the situation's happening here is DOT has picked a certain tool and people don't like or don't know why they picked that tool.
The DOT picked this tool for the protected bike lanes?
DOT wrote the plan, but the school gave the ask.
The
They
school
asked
gave
for
the
protected
ask,
bike lane.
but the DOT came up with the plan
Yeah.
based on the ask.
Yeah.
The school
Okay.
safety unit within the Department of Transportation is saying that this is what they think is the most effective solution, engineering solution for this location.
But it doesn't meet the criteria of the money that was appropriated for the overall plan for the school safety. And it doesn't
The
meet
plan
the
is in front of
priority.
us, so I'm not sure
It's been here for a while.
how the money was appropriated or not, because the plan seems to be in front of us and we seem to be shooting it down.
But what it is this. What I've seen from
What
this
is the
committee,
I'm sorry, let's have one conversation, please.
So,
Let's have one conversation, please.
Go ahead.
so what I've seen from this committee is that there are a number of robust enhancements, street improvement projects that don't meet the criteria. And there are three that come to mind, right?
Which
One
criteria,
is this one here for Wingate,
which criteria?
the criteria for the Vision Zero program. And what it is by the KSI rating, right? And also throughout the entire city of New York, there's been a priority that has been developed to address all the schools, and Wingate is not on it.
Wingate is not the only
So
school
wait,
in
one
this
second.
corridor.
No, that's just one thing, all right? But what I'm saying is this here, right? There are other schools, right, throughout the city, right, that require those robust areas. And what it is that while you don't, if the criteria is not followed, then you don't have a equal equity of the street improvement projects, right? And that is a concern of the DOT, right? That, and it's documented, and it's tracked.
So my question to you about
Wait a
that,
minute, I'm not finished. Right, so it's documented, it's tracked, and here it is, it's right in this here, the Equity Street Report. So when you don't follow the criteria that was developed in order to make sure that everything is equitable and distributed equitable, right? The places that are of low poverty get the most, which it says in here, and the places that are higher priority, or higher poverty, do not receive those services. And if you take a look at the heat map, all the KSI ratings, where are the highest priorities and the highest KSI ratings? In the low poverty areas. So if you're talking about bike lanes for this entire perimeter, protected bike lanes for the entire perimeter of Wingate, what is not being done that is a priority in the other areas? And you're talking about millions of dollars
You've not had any concerns about resource limits for any of these?
I'm just saying, this is what's being tracked by the DOT. And they put out a report. And if the criteria's changed, where the loudest voice gets the robust improvements, then that's a totally different story than the concept of this entire project right here. It is. It doesn't follow it, and everything is tracked.
So should we go
So
back?
whoever has the loudest voice, if that's what you wanna do, that's fine, but this is one project, and there are other projects that I see, the same thing.
Should we go to DOT and say, we don't want this, let's put protected bike lanes or some other intensive safety measures on
So
trails
what
around
I'm
the city?
saying, what I said this before,
Cause those are
and
also.
I'll say it again, alright? If there is a concern, it shouldn't be ignored, and I'm not saying that. What I am saying is you don't need anything that's robust, and you want to make sure that the funding goes where it's supposed to go. So if there's something that you wanna do, you wanna put speed humps out there, you can do it on Rutland Road. I agree you can't do it on Kingston Avenue because it's a dragway for the ambulances. I agree with that. But you can surely put it on Rutland Road.
Well, I think DOT's already determined what they can and can't afford to put there. They wrote the plan.
Okay, so as I said, I went through that plan. And that plan does not follow the criteria. And you all know, I'm the king of audits. I read audits day in and day out, that's what I've done. And you gave me the name, King Audit, right, Mr. Audit? If they were to audit this program, and you're not following it, because what they do, they pick up and say, okay, what's the criteria? Blah, 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 blah. Okay, how is this done? And what are they gonna say? And when they write that report, that goes to the mayor, even goes to the governor, what are they gonna say? And then who's gonna respond to all this? That I decided to what? Listen to those who scream the loudest? No,
So what
I
is-
disagree.
What are you suggesting, that we do an audit on this?
I'm sorry, say again?
Are you suggesting we do an audit?
Well, it seems like an audit might be, because let's put it this way, before we get there, I just wanna go over the other locations that I've seen, that have been discussed here, all right? You have, where is it? That intersection of Washington, President, and Clausen. All right,
Yeah, by the
where,
park.
by the park, by the high schools, the two schools there, okay? From what I read from the consultant, is that they want to turn around and make it so that you close down that's right, you gotta come, I'll make it quick. That they wanna close down the triangle portion of the roadway under President Clausen. Then they want to relocate a street light. Then they want to make a walkway accessible to go into the Botanical Gardens. And that is tagged on to the Vision Zero project for Washington and Atlantic. Okay? Now, the Washington Atlantic meets the criteria. The other one doesn't.
It doesn't, because we already have those safety measures there.
Yeah, it
We-
doesn't.
And the only thing that makes sense,
Measures at Washington.
There's a whole
That's
thing.
my end,
the,
that's
the,
another end.
No, that's
No,
another.
this is,
That's another end.
that's class
That's
and
not it.
president.
Yeah, it's where the high schools are.
That's
Right.
towards
They're trying to
the
do
Robert
park.
McNair.
What they wanna do, they wanna make a mall, basically, they wanna make a mall.
you can't make them all.
That's what they wanna do, they wanna cut off this with a class and where the address, where the entrance of the schools are, and make a mall.
Have
But
we
the only thing that makes
been given
sense,
a plan or a
Huh?
notice, have we been given a notice of this?
No, we know it exists.
So it's.
Well,
Didn't they present on this a couple of years
They
ago?
presented
They were-
like 5 years
Yeah.
ago.
Yeah, so how did this come about if
But
they didn't follow
get
this
they didn't
plan?
get the funding.
Well, that's what I'm saying. If you're noticing that DOT is not following systematically a chunk of the criteria, maybe it means less than you think it means. Maybe it's not actually how they pick what their next plan will be.
So let me ask
But
you
we
this.
also asked for
Let me ask you
Washington
this
Avenue
here.
improvements, including a crosswalk at the Botanical.
Yeah, that's different, a crosswalk is different, I mean,
but
if you wanna put a
that's-
crosswalk, I'm not even gonna argue about a
wait,
crosswalk.
time out. We keep on talking about Washington Avenue and crosswalk. There's plenty of crosswalk on Washington Avenue to get to the Botanical Garden. There's at least four or five of them. We don't need that on Washington Avenue,
Except
I
for,
can't-
except
for Montgomery.
Montgomery.
Yeah, Montgomery, that's
Only
different.
from
I can see how they
Conroe
do
to
that.
the corner of Montgomery, but Washington between Empire and Eastern Parkway, there is no need for anything
The
else.
way it was,
We already have it there.
the way it was written up, that the purpose of it was to
Isn't
make
that
it,
where Montgomery is?
the
Only
reason it was
Montgomery, only Montgomery. Washington and Montgomery is where there is no safety.
Right.
After you pass that light on Crown, on Crown, towards Empire,
Yeah, that's a
there is-
different thing.
There
That's
is,
totally
that's a
different.
whole different thing. We need to make sure that there is no more safety improvements there because we already have it. We don't wanna waste money on that. We wanna make sure that we target what we need on Washington.
all I know is this here, if this is a case where you did come with this and the DOT came with this, then yeah, I say this needs to be audited, because they're not following the criteria. They are not. There's no reason to spend almost, because I estimated at $5 million plus in order to do all of that work, and it's not even a priority corridor. It's gonna cost about $5 million.
Is there a limit that DOT has on what they spend on non-priority?
I don't
corridors?
know about that, all I know is that
Then
it's
you don't have
tied
an
to,
argument.
but it's tied to a Vision Zero project.
You don't have an argument then.
They
If
They
you-
tagged
required
it, they
to do
tagged it to a Vision Zero project.
Are they required
So
to
my
only
thing
do
is,
Vision Zero and ignore all other locations?
no, but you have to do it as robust. And how did it come about? How did it come about?
Which
Vision Zero, listen, the Vision Zero program is very specific in how the money is to be spent. Now, if it's to be funded by using Vision Zero project, that's close to a misappropriation of funds, a misuse of appropriated funds. It is. In my world as a project manager for many years, that's a misappropriation. Because if it's audited and then they turn around and say, you didn't follow this criteria for that, then fine, DOT, show auditing that criteria.
Okay, well, what I will say, I think in our situation, at least in our position, I think our biggest lever is to more spotlight areas of the biggest need. And I think that's the best way we can, as of now, sort of help direct where DOT's funds go.
So I say this, yes, Schenectady Avenue,
Okay.
right? The far eastern part of the district that everybody forgets about,
I mean, I grew
okay?
up over there.
Everybody forgets about it,
I got that.
everybody.
I know what we're thinking about. That.
So,
We were actually building a plan that covered those areas of the district too before DOT presented the Kingston and Brooklyn one.
but what I'm saying is this here.
What's needed, yeah.
The bike lanes going around the protected bike lanes around the entire campus, especially down Brooklyn and Winthrop, doesn't meet the criteria. It's not even on here. It's not. If that school is on here and they reshuffle the whole priority, right, then show me. But it's not here. And the reason why they come up with a criteria is for this, that everything is, there's a equity in how the street improvement projects are designed, built, and considered.
What I will say to that too, just out of clarification, is that I'm not sure about any legal requirement that DOT might have to
No, it's nothing legal.
spend the,
It's nothing legal.
but you know what, they are legally required to build protected bike lanes.
No.
That's
What-
also true.
No. What it is,
It is
they wanna
actually- it is
do the
an
Sammy's
actual
law,
law.
do the Sammy's law,
It is-
about 50 miles of bike lanes a
It's
year,
not
yeah,
about,
I read all
not
that.
that.
Which is it then?
Huh?
Which is it?
Not the Sammy's law is about school area speed limits.
Okay.
I'm referring to the
Bike lanes.
Yeah, it was the streets master plan, there's bus lane requirements, bike
Bike
lane
lanes,
requirements, all sorts of
yeah.
things.
yeah.
It's all in there. I read it all. So what I'm saying is this here, right? It's how it's distributed. And what it is that there's a criteria for how it's distributed. So now the question is the criteria to be followed or not? Okay, I'm process orientated. That's how I think, that's how I work and everything. And if we're gonna spend all this money, what's the criteria? If you're spending about $5 million, that's my rough estimate, for that thing on Washington. I could be off. All right? If you're gonna spend $5 million, you have to justify that to the powers to be. Because this money is a grant, right? It's a loan, a grant, whatever it was, that they came down,
Can I ask a
and they get their
question?
report.
Alright, well,
Like,
and you're right. After your question, though,
No,
I wanna have.
I'm gonna shut up.
our
I'm
guest
being
present here
really
real quick.
serious.
Yes,
No,
because you
no,
gotta
no.
go.
You gotta present.
Yeah.
Sorry about that.
Your facts and figures may be valid, but like our community board at the last meeting basically voted to amend this plan drastically to cut it back a lot. What do you wanna see?
So.
What
So
is
what are
Are
we
we-
going to do?
It seems
Yes.
like a moot point.
Alright, well, what are we gonna do? You may be right, what are we gonna do?
Well, our current position on this is, as stated in the February meeting, a bike lane proposal without protected bike lanes, without the concrete barriers that protect intersections, without daylighting, and well, the bike lane enables all of those other street geometries.
But you can't install them without the protected bike lanes?
The DOT would not do it.
Why not?
We asked them.
Well,
This is part of their design toolkit. This is how they
So-
wrote things
so-
out.
But all or nothing?
let me clarify that, Benny, real quick. A lot of
So this seems like a moot point. That's what I'm asking.
Oh, isn't
Wait,
it, what?
a lot of those things are not really buildable without the protected bike lane. For example, a lot of the things that the schools outline here and that were in the plan.
So what did they outline here? Because it seemed like one principal copied from the other principal.
Yeah, it did, yeah.
It
did.
So it doesn't
It did.
seem to me that they really
Yeah.
did, their homework.
Hold on.
Yeah, the spelling error is the same, you know what I mean?
What is it?
But what I'm
They're principals.
That's common.
You know what I'm saying?
That's common.
No.
For one, a petition is people signing onto the same letter.
Glad you said that, Maggie.
They said they recently had an opportunity, they didn't say anything about we're petitioning, this
No,
is
no,
our
what I'm saying is
petition
that-
presented to
Well,
the,
they wouldn't-
with
they don't have-
signatures
they
from
don't have
all of
enough
the
numbers.
teachers and all of this other stuff. Cause my thing is this is my issue only, issue only. They are indicating that there are X amount of incidents, is that KSI thing you're
Yeah,
talking
the
about?
KSI, mhm.
So I'm still into exactly where did these incidents occur? So if they're occurring on the corners, why are we putting protected bike lanes? Why are we addressing
Why don't we
where
just in
the
the corner?
incidents actually happen?
Exactly.
So that we can use the best amount of money to be able to reduce where
you.
the accidents are
Accidents are
occurring.
happening.
Cause if you have a leak in your house, even though it starts over here and it trails down here, you gotta follow that
If-
thing so that you now can stop the leak.
I don't know if there's a better system. A lot of it, if you look at most crash maps,
Yeah.
they always like. I don't know if you've ever been in a crash, but like the police report says, what are the cross streets? It might identify mid-block. The data always just spits it out at a corner. So the intersections tend to be more dangerous than the middle of the block, but wherever the crash occurred, they're always just putting an intersection. Whether or not it occurred right there or not. So like it's a little bit misleading if you're saying, oh, it was only at the corner and we don't need any safety change mid-block. That said, when you look at it in the aggregate, like we have tens of thousands of crashes just everywhere.
I'm just talking about that particular area. I can't speak or confirm and deny what happened someplace else. But I'm looking at if they had 50 accidents in that particular area, where did they happen? For example, I've been asking for a study on Rogers Avenue and Crown Street. We've had the fire truck run into the building on that corner. We've had so many accidents right there on the corner of Rogers Avenue and Crown Street. And as of yet, nothing has really been done to address that because the street narrows. And so that's my thing. The street is narrowing, but the people are still driving at a certain rate or speed. Where the streets are wider, I can't say on the other side of Empire how many accidents they have in the morning. But as I get up to my side, they are having these accidents. So I'm trying to be realistic with this. If I have something going on with my house, I'm not going to fix this part and the accident
So
in the
one
corner
second,
is
so-
over here.
But you're saying the accidents are happening when the streets are narrowing, right?
Where they're narrower, where allegedly the traffic is supposed to be slower. Based on what y'all are saying, that when the streets are narrower, there are less accidents and there's less speeding.
There's
Right.
less speeding, it doesn't necessarily, it means the severity of crashes are less.
Well, the last guy, they had to rush him to the hospital and stuff. He was really
Okay,
jacked
but
up.
like,
you
No,
know.
Example,
what I'm
like-
saying though is that's a good point. You're saying narrower streets could be a little dangerous because you have less space to maneuver around accidents, right?
Correct.
I'm sure.
And the fire truck came through, hit pole, hit the apartment building and everything.
I'm sure. That's part of the idea behind why some people want to have like separation for micromobility. So if you have more vehicles in a given space, it can be a bit narrower, more chance of accidents. Like you see, that's part of the motivation to have a separate lane, for cyclists and different things.
But the street is still gonna be narrow and you're still gonna have those accidents, even if you do have the bicycle lane, to protect the bicycle lane, there's still gonna be those accidents based on what you're saying now.
Right, but that would be car on car, which is significantly less serious than a car running into or drifting off and hitting someone who's
A person
on
or a bike.
That's much more serious. I'd rather
I got
not
that.
have that.
I got that. So of these accidents, cause I kinda looked at the numbers and stuff, I'm still trying to figure out what happened, what caused, what time of day. The schools are open X amount of months during the school year on a certain time frame. So, all these accidents happening during, cause it was 158 accidents or KSIs or something like that. Were all of those happening during the school hours? I'm just throwing it out there
I get it,
to make sense so that we
and
can
this
make a recommendation on a really good
Right.
thing
Well,
to help everybody.
As of right now, we can't make a recommendation again on the same item. We're gonna have to wait for the version 2 of the plan to come out, and then we'll tackle that when that comes. But I wanna say this is one of the problems with addressing the issues one by one and trying to separate street issues. Because we talk about accidents and intersections, but that isn't the only way accidents happen. People veer off and knock a biker off their bike or knock a scooter person off their scooter or whatever else.
So
they
does
do.
the data suggest that in these 158 accidents, that
But-
this is what you're saying?
It happens. I've seen it.
I'm
It's
talking
all
about
almost-
this particular location.
No, I'm not done. What I'm saying is, there are instances like that.
I got
That
that, I
data
got
can't
that,
really.
that's valid,
That
that's
data
valid.
doesn't really capture. It doesn't tell you if a car drifted, let's say 14 degrees and knocked the biker over. It just says an accident happened mid-block or intersection. Now you think you know what happened. That's not how it works. And the second thing is there are other issues like pedestrians being hit with the light, with the walk sign on, and them needing, a shorter crossing distance. For example, I helped a 90-something-year-old woman cross Nostrand Avenue. The cars were honking at the green light for about 80 seconds because she was crossing extremely slowly, right? And if she was crossing Brooklyn Avenue down by Fenimore, she might have been done for because it was a very, very wide street, and you never know what someone might do.
Yeah, but
You know?
you can't design something on a what if scenario.
That's what design is exactly for.
No, you design it based on the data. The
That's how you
data,
end
because
up with
that's how you
streets that are-
know. That's because in order to address something, you have to have condition, cause correction, and then
So you need to have some more
confirmation.
depth before we make a street
Okay?
change?
What I'm saying is that you already have data here. It's not that. Don't go there. You have
No, but I'm saying
you have
cause
the
and
data
correction.
here. You
I'm
have
saying-
the data here.
No.
And what it is, if you follow the data, there will be changes. Because out in East New York, when they started putting the bike lanes in the very high KSI incident rate, they saw a 30% improvement in the KSI. Right? Based on data, not on what if.
Well, this hasn't happened yet, so we can't compare before and after.
Compare.
Before
No,
they
but-
put the thing in and after they put the thing in.
No, but they put it in based on the data. But how they
Well, how do
how
they
they
know
made the corrections was based on the data.
Well, how did they know they were gonna get a 30% return?
No, because what they did, they saw a high KSI
So are you
rating.
saying
Right?
that
Wait.
KSI
They saw a high
enough?
KSI rating, right?
Yes.
So they came up with a plan
Yes.
to address the KSI.
Yes.
And what they did, and once they did it, they saw close to a 30% improvement in the incident rate.
Are you saying that their data model predicted a 30% improvement, or
No.
after they implemented
After
it?
again, what I said,
We can't do that.
correction. What's the condition? You come up with a design to address the causes that create
Yes.
the condition, right? Then you have the correction and then confirmation. So the only way you can find us at the end of the confirmation.
Well, I think there is
You're
a
preventing the
there's a
confirmation
little-
from happening because
there's-
we're not gonna do this.
Negative.
there's a little bit of
Negative.
tension here happening.
What I'm saying is that you
because
don't have the incident rate that is in this
So
You
presentation.
could do a 30% reduction from 150 is 120.
Yeah, but you don't have, but it's not 150 because you know why? All those are not the stats for the KSI. All that 178 incidents that were in that presentation,
Yeah.
it does not
What's the real value?
denote what the KSI is. Because that's not the
Do you know
KSI.
the real value then?
There were, yes, I do. I don't have it here, but next meeting I can
Please,
bring it up.
yes.
you should also tell
I can
DOT
bring it
about
up
that. They
because
might
I
benefit
go
from
to
it.
Yeah, it
open
sounds like
data.
you should be a consultant
It's
for
all
DOT.
it's all in the open data. It's all there in open data. and I pulled it. I didn't bring it with me, but I can provide it,
Alright,
without a doubt.
if we should move on, but Benny, you have a comment?
Just one comment, that you're saying that the stats are misleading because they don't always tell you where the accident actually happened. That may be true except for Eastern Parkway, because Eastern Parkway already has a protected bike lane, so any accidents that are happening with bikes, and most of the KSIs are on Eastern Parkway, so then they must be happening on.
There are a lot of kids.
But they have 3 times the vehicle volume too.
Yeah. Well, it's not, you have to figure out the ratios, but,
I think we could
I mean,
debate.
but
you
these
can't
accidents are
prove,
happening
you can't
all
prove
on
a
the corner.
counterfactual.
But you know what?
Took away the
Just to go back to what you said,
Would the numbers go up or go
It would
down?
make a difference, because
Then
all
you
the
think it
accidents are
would.
happening on the corner.
alright,
But
so
if
listen,
they
what,
took the protected bike lane away on Eastern Parkway, like whether the numbers go up or go down is not the point of this committee.
Of course it is, we wanna,
Of course
we
it
wanna,
is.
we wanna, we wanna,
Like
We wanna
I don't think that we operate
implement-
counterfactuals.
Well,
I don't think
I-
that is productive use of
what I
our
will
4
say
hours
is that-
together.
I don't see. But I can.
Yeah, it's only 9.
It's understandable, but I think to an extent, there hasn't been the level of data analysis on this committee needed to actually answer those questions. No one here is compiling all of the accident reports and trying to figure out from officers
it
what
doesn't,
actually
it's not by
happened.
the accident reports, it's by the severity of the accident. Remember, this here, what denotes what improvements are needed is when checked in this box, in line item 5, is box A for severity of an injury or a death. You can have 100 accidents there. That is not what this is about. This is about the KSI only.
As
And
a-
there is and Schenectady Avenue has a very high KSI,
Okay.
very high.
Well, we definitely take your point on what areas need the most safety improvements. That's important, and a part of our agenda is analyzing high intent areas and seeing, high incident rate areas and seeing where we can
But you have the data here.
focus.
It's already here. They already did it for you. What is there to analyze? They already did it for you. It's here.
No, we know.
Okay. Oh, but I don't know what is there to analyze.
So the KSI stands for,
Killed and seriously injured.
Kill. I like to use the word fatal. You know.
That's what they do.
Yeah, I like to use. They use kill and kill. I use
I
like
know.
fatal.
I guess they need criteria to make decisions. I've always
You need criteria to spend the money.
as,
That's what the criteria is for. To spend the money.
as long as I mean, I've been in New York all my life, but I very much have been transportation focused since coming up. March 21st is the 15th anniversary of my own hit and run. When I was biking home, car hit me, knocked me down, and then I was very focused on how dangerous our streets are. So it's been many years that I've been looking at this, and I've always thought, I get why, okay, they need a certain criteria, KSI, to justify something. I think that's so ridiculous that they have to wait we need enough dead people in our neighborhood before we can make changes.
If we got it
Like-
now. Wait, no. You have it now. What they're saying is that throughout the city, they've identified the hot spots. They have that already.
So
Right.
I think it's weird that they wait for spots to hit a certain number. Same as when we've asked for a traffic light sometimes. They're like, well, it's not been dangerous enough yet. Even though everyone is saying, hey, it's really dangerous, I don't feel safe. You asked a good question before, I think, of with the principals, how many kids are trying to bike to school? I know where my daughter goes. She goes to school just at East New York Avenue in Rochester, 770 right over there.
Okay.
It's a mile and a half from here. I will bike with my daughter. When we bike back, we're on Brooklyn Avenue. I wish we had a protected bike lane there. But I also know, I talked to the other parents at the school, the principal, the kids are scared. You can't say how many kids are biking there because no one feels safe to bike there. So sometimes you need infrastructure there to make people think, hey, maybe this is something I can do. So I think sometimes the way that we wait for people to die, or we only say, well, how many people are biking, realizing no one feels comfortable biking. I think it's just an odd order of the way that we do.
But that's the perfect thing that you brought up, that you're going to put the protected bike lane up and to encourage the people that kind of really wanted to bike, but they feel like it's not safe to do that. So let's start with, why is it not safe? what is happening there? What's on the corner? What's causing it to be not safe? So if we could correct the unsafe environment, just like Andrew said, I said, Andrew, what about the lights? He said, well, there's not enough traffic going through to put a light up.
No, but what you're saying is.
I disagree that's what DOT says. I don't disagree. I disagree with the method.
So
think
that's-
we
but
deserve
so-
better.
They
but-
said the street is very. We walked it.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
We spent that morning all walking it.
Yeah.
Brooklyn Avenue is really wide. If you want to get to Wingate Park, it's a very wide street. Some streets don't have crosswalks,
Right.
so they want to narrow it. It just so happens that a lot of times when you narrow it, you have an extra X amount of feet. What do you do with it? Because if you don't do something, cars will take up the space. As like right before Alicia Boyd pointed out, cars are taking up the space on Washington Avenue. So sometimes they need the physical build out to ensure that the thing that is the problem, it's the really wide street, and you have not that much of a traffic volume because it dead ends right at Winthrop. So they're trying to narrow it. And hey, there's a park right there. Hey, there's a bunch of schools right there. Why not?
But hey, where's the traffic guard? Hey, where's the light on
But the
that
traffic
corner?
guard leaves too.
You know.
They want. I think they're going
Isn't
for
the traffic guard
self-informed.
supposed to be there at a certain time when the kids are going to
Yeah,
school and
sure,
leaving
but
school?
the
They
traffic
want
guards are not
24/7
perfect.
safety.
They're not perfect.
Excuse me?
They want 24/7 safety.
So what's
Yeah.
the final analysis on what we're doing?
Well,
24/7.
so I mean, this-
How do you have 24/7 safety there?
With better street design. There is. So
Especially,
I mean-
but the schools are only there for a certain period of time. The
The whole
kids are
thing
going
is
to
about
school.
the
They're not
school.
There's
365
plenty
days. I don't.
after-school
What about the
activities,
people that are living
sports.
there 365 days of the year? But it seems like we're going to have to start another conversation the next meeting because I really want her to be able to
I
say
was
what she
about to
wanted to
say
say.
And
So
I want
yes.
this other young lady to speak
Yeah,
as well.
because we've been,
I was gonna
because
also-
we'll be here for a minute with this.
no, it's okay. It goes.
Oh, wait, go ahead, we
So-
please.
So what are we doing now? So
We're
we're
And
adjourning
Andrew said
this.
that there's a new plan coming up, right? So we can look at the new
No,
plan, right?
There's no plan.
There should be a new plan coming up.
They're gonna get.
The resolution that was passed before outlines the request for for the changes to be implemented in a new version of the plan.
Will DOT send us a new version of this plan?
I spoke to them. They are optimistic about it, so I can assume it's a
So like
it's a
2
yes.
years from now, maybe?
No, actually, so first off, there were complaints that we took too long on this.
I
Because
believe it.
they're basically ready to build this. Like, we could have done this too late. It could have been already, it's very likely that they could be building it already, preparing for that. So, what would likely happen is the 3 or 4 months that we didn't get a vote on this out,
Yeah.
they probably already made moves.
Well,
You know, this is like,
Probably.
they
To
make
build
moves
their
anyway.
original plan. That's
To
what
build the original
It
plan,
could've- it
which
could-
is, I'm sorry.
The protected bike lane.
We've spent the protected bike lane plan with, Kingston and Brooklyn up through Empire. And
So you're saying they're gonna do it anyway?
I'm saying we took too long.
I'm trying to understand.
I'm not saying they'll do it anyway, they might not, because the relationship between DOT and CDN is getting better, so they might
wanna mess
they
it up
might
too
not.
much.
They might not.
We need them
But
for
I'm
the
saying
toilets.
that was one thing we heard. I heard from across.
Well, listen, one thing I think, you need to talk to these teachers, these principals.
We invited them for this meeting and next month, so
Yeah,
they're
well, no, no, really,
They're talking
they,
about
they,
the grammar.
this letter here, just to,
We need to get them and
Huh?
the English teacher in the room.
yeah, I think,
Oh, yeah.
you know, these are educators.
Yeah.
I would point this out. I would point this
I
out.
was saying anything about the grammatical errors, but that'll
Oh,
be.
yeah.
I would point that out,
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
because you don't know where this letter's gonna go.
Mm-hmm.
I would point that out,
They probably have one
just
of those,
for their,
they probably have one of those
Just
students.
to
right
embarrass them
Yeah.
for doing it.
Listen, it's to save face on their end that I think this committee should go back to them with regards to these, if they're gonna be filed and used later or whatever.
We have to spell check.
Yeah, but
Fair enough.
they should do that.
Alright, presentations. Anybody else?
Individual statements,
Yeah, make them individual.
Please.
with a inked signature.
As a note about that, lots of bodies do not do individual letters. Many
Yeah.
of them copy the letter across. For example, when we wrote the letter on Washington Avenue, Botanic Garden was willing to just copy the letter that we wrote and send that out. Because that is how organizations do this very often.
Yeah, but somebody gotta read it. Somebody has to.
That's true, that's fair.
Somebody,
I
so you
agree.
can't take a mistake
agree.
and
I
multiply it by 500
Yeah, but that letter,
times.
we all read that letter before we actually send it out and copy it
Yeah.
over.
Yeah, they didn't read it, they didn't read it, that's all.
I'm just saying,
I'm
it's
just saying
common
that this
for
letter is not,
Yeah,
it's not composed properly, and
Understandable. I'm just saying it's common for letters to be the same from people who feel the
No,
same
we
way.
understand that, we're just saying,
The way it
for
was
them to
written.
save their face, just give them a heads up,
Principle.
that's all.
All right.
Come on,
Give them a heads
come
up.
on, come on.
Gotcha,
Go ahead.
Yeah, come on.
So with that said, I'm Billy Martin from Youth and Education and Libraries, and I just wanted to just mention real quick, if I'm new to you, hi. If I'm not, good to see you again. Two things, we have an event coming up on April 5th, the Education Town Hall. We are inviting all educators of all areas in education to have a conversation about education. This is the flyer for it. Please take one and share. And if you know anyone who you think would be a great option to be on the panel, it's also a QR code up there for them to scan and submit their information. It's free, open to everyone. Please come. We'll have light refreshments there and all of that jazz. It's at Clara Barton High School on one of the streets I was arguing about. The other event we having is a career readiness job fair for youth and education. From youth and education, the age group we're targeting is 14 to 24. Right now, we are seeking vendors for that fair, and this is being rescheduled for May, not March 15th. It's being rescheduled for May. If you know of any vendors that are interested in setting up and targeting that 14 to 24 group, please scan them. If you're interested in volunteering to be to help out, we need it. So please sign up for both events actually to volunteer. Please sign up if you need my contact information. One of them have it, and good night. Good luck. Thank you for the entertainment.
Coming tomorrow?
Good night, everybody.
Good night.
So before we close, we're
Yeah.
gonna do new business. This young lady wants to speak.
Hello. Thanks for
Hello.
coming.
Thanks for having me. It's my first time here.
All
I
right.
was not planning on speaking at all. I was just gonna eavesdrop, but then, it kind of came out.
Would you like to stand in front of them?
Oh, yeah.
You can say no.
I'm
You
gonna
can
say.
say
Basically, Dante was the one who I've been bugging him via email, and he told me to come. I live in 99 Ocean Avenue. It's a building that's right on the corner of Lincoln Road and Ocean Avenue, right across from the park. And for like at least, I think, 4 years at this point, every few months, the MTA stops service on the Q line. They shut it off at Prospect Park, the stop right there, and they bring shuttle buses. And those shuttle buses very neatly line Lincoln Road and Ocean Avenue. And so we are like in this circle of fire of like engines just going all the time, 24/7. And they do this though for like a month at a time. I mean on weekends, right? So it's every 3-4 months, a month, sometimes a month and a half of weekends goes to just like nonstop noise, and it's really bad. Like it wears you down after a while, So a lot of tenants in the building, especially those whose windows face the streets, it's all studio apartments too, so we can't really hide from it. So we're just tapped into the.
So you're saying the bus comes and they stop and they sit
They
idle?
stop. Yeah, but
And
it's
that's
just
why-
they
nonstop.
have,
They're
it's a
idle.
shuttle bus, when they're maintaining the tracks, there's shuttle buses that shows you between there and perhaps Atlantic Avenue or 7th Avenue, one of those, mostly Atlantic Avenue. But they have the shuttle buses for people to get on
And they're
and show
idle
them
the whole
Right,
time.
that's what I'm asking, if they're idle.
During the day, they don't really sit idle because they're people,
No,
who
but
need
the
their turn.
engines are on while
Right.
they're
The engines are always on, and then at night it's a different situation because there aren't as many people. So then the buses are just hanging out and
With
running
the engines on idling?
Yeah.
See, that's the problem.
So we should
That's the problem.
said something and enforced the idling law in New York
Right.
City.
Yeah, I've tried talking to the dispatchers, you know, at wintertime I can understand.
There's a guy that sits in front of the Prospect Park station. He has like a little
Yeah.
walkie-talkie. He's the
I've
bus
talked to all
dispatcher
those
for
guys.
them.
I've cried at them, I've yelled at them,
Oh, no.
I've done everything. And it's not just me, it's like, you know, I'm on the second floor, so I do get a lot of it, but it's all of us.
So
Let's look
it's
at
not,
the-
it's not only an issue. You want you want them to turn off their engines and wait until the next bus gets filled up.
So let me ask you this question. So it seems like that it's only sporadically, right? So mainly on the weekends, this occurs?
Always on weekends,
Okay,
yeah.
so is there anything posted, say, in the subway station that they're doing track work, and what's the duration of when it's going to end?
Yeah, always.
But are they gonna finish the project, say, tomorrow, next, you see a notice like that?
I think no, because what they do is they'll say, okay, the queue is not running for the next 4 weekends, 5 weekends, 6
Oh,
weekends.
okay.
And that's what they do, but then
Extensive
3 months
track work.
later, they do it again.
Yeah.
And it's just endless.
So it's an idling issue.
Yeah.
Yeah, just turn off the engine.
Yeah. So
And
I
then
think
just
what
start
should
up
happen,
under-
I would-
We could amend Alicia's letter to say that the NYPD should also be enforcing idling for bus fleets.
and it's right around the corner from there, you got it.
Well, it's a couple of, I was thinking, so the idling that would help immensely. If they just turned their engines at night, that would be amazing.
That's a pretty
But
easy
then,
action.
like, winter time, it's cold, so they're cold in there. So they run the engines because they don't want to just freeze in their buses.
Well, they
you
could
know?
go into the subway station and
They have
stay
a
stay
station
there.
house.
They could get into the subway.
They have a station house with crew quarters in that station.
Yeah.
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 And they can leave the door open
They
and people
can
can go in.
also, I mean, if now and again they would just choose a different route for their shuttles, like
Oh,
for
yeah.
example, because it's all residential there too. I mean, if they stop idling, that's already incredible. But like if they can, for example, Ocean and Flatbush, there's a parking lot there, and there aren't residential. There are medical offices or something. There aren't buildings with people living in them. You know?
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
I think Andrew's suggestion is spot on,
Just the okay.
but you guys gonna have to vote on that to
Andrew,
make
you can
it.
vote right now.
Yeah, you got to.
I move to amend a previously consented
we don't-
motion.
I say make a separate one.
Oh,
Also Callista left, right? So we don't
We
have-
still have 5 out of 8.
we have 6.
Okay.
That's 6 out
We
of
have
8.
6, we're good.
Yeah.
What am I motioning?
The idling,
Amend the
the idling.
Amend the letter to
Amend-
include the
You're
idling of
gonna
the
have the
buses.
letter.
The enforcement
Yeah.
of idling limits.
Second it? But that's the NYPD, isn't
Oh,
this?
this will be to.
This is the NPA.
I think it should be a
Yeah.
separate
This is a
letter.
separate letter.
It should, I think it should be
Oh,
separate.
I'm not gonna start that one.
Do you
You
think?
can just,
It's
it's
a
your
bigger fresh-
motion, just make
No,
it.
I'm not gonna start that one.
I think what,
I'm gonna
what,
recuse myself.
That should be a separate.
yeah, I think what Papa said, yeah, and that's right, should be a separate letter.
I'll do a motion then
Alright.
to, a motion to send a letter to MTA,
Right.
You can also send it to MIPD too, but
right, and CC NYPD and asking them to enforce, their, engine idling laws.
And I think it also is a good idea to line up the buses from Ocean Empire and Flatbush down to Lincoln instead, because that is a commercial corridor. It also has residential, but there are 2 entrances for the subway instead of just the one on Lincoln Road.
But the thing is that they have the buses around the block.
Yeah.
It's not just on Lincoln Road. So
No,
they have them
they
all lined
round
up and they
Ocean.
come up on.
But I'm saying they ran, half a block up Ocean and most of Lincoln Road. If you did like a quarter turn counterclockwise, they could start at the top of Flatbush, where Flatbush intersects with Empire.
But they can't go all the way
Yeah,
to the
but-
top because they need a stop for the buses. It's still a bus stop for the
Yes.
41.
Yes,
Yes.
you're right, never mind.
So,
Would it be helpful?
And then you'll have all.
and then you have to take away all that parking.
Right,
So
on Ocean, so.
Well, they're already removing the parking from Ocean
Well-
on weekends if they do added work. They put little things like cannot park here, ordered from the city limit.
So they can do that on Flatbush instead, you're saying, from like mid-block, from like Lefferts down,
Yeah.
so you're past the bus stop.
Okay?
But something,
Do you think,
We didn't vote on that yet.
oh,
Motion's still being made. Andrew, I think, was gonna recuse himself, so
Yeah.
you might abstain. Do we have
But
common
Jenny
consent then?
already seconded,
Yes.
right?
I second.
Yeah, Benny seconded it. Do we have common consent then?
Yay.
That's 5 out of like the 6 here. Yeah, good to go.
And you spoke to the bus dispatcher, he yelled at you?
So many
He
times.
told-
Well, we yelled at each other.
You yelled at each other? Oh, okay.
Oh, I don't,
you get a note?
no, I didn't.
The
Yeah,
next time it happens, get it.
Okay.
Okay,
Do
we
you
are
think I
adjourned.
should get a petition from my building?
Yes,
But who do I give it to then?
you give it to the
To you
district
guys?
office in Dante.
You give it
Give it
Dante.
to the council member.
Okay.
Yeah, that should.
Oh.
We'd be happy to include it to this letter, but also to the.
If you do a little video of it too, I feel like that's, you know, a short video could just
And
go
then-
viral and just
They
bash
might,
the MTA.
they might also very quickly learn the lesson if you can collect the $3 idling citizen enforcement fee.
They made it harder to do that.
Really?
What is
Yeah, they
that?
changed the requirement.
Never mind.
Oh.
Do that on.
Electric fleets? Because they're electric, but they're still idling.
Did you officially,
Okay, I'm gonna
did you
do the
officially
petition.
adjourn?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so I'm gonna put together this petition, but probably